There's one thing that I want to tell this young man. I will say it in French, sorry. When I was 17, I wanted to start designing cartoons. I tried. I used to bring in designs for the newspapers, and when they agreed to publish me, they usually went bankrupt. It usually took between 3 and 2 weeks, between 3 days and 2 weeks. So I've only had one of my designs that was published, and that newspaper closed down and went bankrupt. And it was definitely because the newspaper was over. It's been 3 years that he comes to see us every 3 months with his unpublishable things. One day I understood that what I wanted, what I was making, wasn't what I loved to read, so I stopped. And I started to associate texts and images. And many years later, 25 years later, they invited me to participate to this movie, and I found myself uh, telling people "you" because I have a lot of admiration for them. So it's as if my dream that allows me to reach in another way a dream I had when I was a young boy. Because to be able to say, "Hey, you, Burns," and all those people that were very welcoming with me, extremely welcoming towards me. And that is the dimension that is present in my short movie. And now I want to create a long movie, and I'm looking for a producer who's willing to go bankrupt for it. Other questions? At the beginning of the presentations, we saw a series of characters, and it seems that the reading that you make of the sentence is different, because I can read a sentence differently from what somebody else can see or read. I want to know if these characters are designed for the French language only, or if the combination of those same letters could be used in another language like Italian. I'm happy about this question because it shows that you understood and followed closely. In the presentation text that I showed you, the quiz was created in 2004. But in 1988, I did the contange, which means the same thing. Contange means what do I hear? In the two cases, the quiche is the same project as the contange, but we wanted to make it more, we wanted to simplify it and render it a lot more effective. In the second case, it meant not an objective version, but of something that was extremely subjective, and it's actually my personal way of speaking French. Because, for example, in French, there are facultative liaisons, and you can use Z's or not. But for example, I created liaisons that people don't normally do. I have a tendency to do them all the time. So people create liaisons with the P. So if P is sounded and you can hear it, you can't use the same letter if it's silent, if you're using quiche. So the answer is yes, it's good. Rightfully enough, it's a subjective reading. It's something that you have to play with because there are things that are very argumentative and could be discussed. For example, in the south of France, we say ma mère, which my mother went to bathe in the sea. And the French in Paris, the French spoken in Paris is a lot clearer, but it's not true because I think it's clearer. Because in Paris, people that speak Parisian don't understand people from the south, and the people from the south, vice versa, don't understand the people from the north. So Le Quiche is done for a Parisian and for a particular type of person, but it's a font that you can use for all people all over the world. Yes, the Cujo was designed for the French language, but the Contange was done similarly in English and in German. But the reason I chose French is because it's my mother tongue language. Now, if I had the energy, I could draw it for all the languages. I would have to do all the phonemes and all the gramophones for all languages because that's what is complicated, the relation between the letters. So the sounds have to be identified for every language, and the letters allow you to write these phonemes. And in French, there's a distortion between the gramophones and the phonemes. Yes. As I said, I cannot say it. I was very surprised because last year I was in Tuscany and I was queuing. And the guy who pronounced my name said Di Sciullo. And je suis tombée sur beaucoup de. I fell upon many Italians who weren't able to pronounce my name properly. It was when you did the movie, you used the character.
Il n'y a pas la différence des personnes, là il est plus grand, mais c'est pas la différence quand on voit lire sa page, il a été
simplified the quiche only for the signalage, because in the quiche there's 27 variations, and here I only used 3 variations, because otherwise it became only, I would have been the only person who probably would have found pleasure to all these variations. So in terms of fabrication, it was very, very complex. So I already found 3 thicknesses and 3 variations. So there are 9 different types of letters. So the manufacturer had to create different letters and put them in order because each letter is glued separately. So it was already complicated enough to have 9.
No, soprattutto esatto, devi un po' da essere tecnici, si muovono tutti. Ah, sì, sì,
That's what I like, that the signals and the descriptives actually go detour around the signalage. I want the signals to be functional and descriptive because that's the least of things. I don't want them to be used for other things or for a playground with a language and with everybody's body in the space. So it has to be sensual and playful, but to be able to act as such, it has to be fun and sensual. And obviously, there are people who will walk by and won't even notice it, but. Thank you very much for your attention.